All right, so if you guys clicked on this story, obviously it's from the last teacher story, or you guys just, watch my videos and you guys just enjoy the story times I tell. And today's story is obviously from a continuation of the first part of the teacher story. So if you guys haven't seen that one yet, I would advise you guys go check that out. But without further ado, this is the second part. But before we do, obviously, I just want to mention today is my birthday. Yes, I am finally 21 years old. Out of 20 years of living and going through crazy things in my life, knowing I'm officially 21 is kind of insane. And I think my only birthday wish that I would want from you guys is to leave a like and subscribe. But also, here's an amazing announcement I think you guys want to listen to. Do you play Minecraft and think that you are the best? Well, test your amazing survival skills in Bubblecraft. Bubblecraft is a Minecraft server that has a beautiful aspect of surviving with your friends, but with a twist. Have awesome opportunities to join a player-ran economy with all your friends and fight random bosses that may spawn upon the world to survive. And winning battles with you and your friends get you guys keys to earn awesome rewards and limited time items from these crates that we made. But not only that, discover the world of Bubblecraft and also join in on events like parkour, building competitions, and on top of that, becoming the strongest and the richest player on the server. All this fun is going to be live on Twitch, which I am streaming on right now as we speak, and you guys are watching this video. So if you guys want to play live with me right now, here's the IP address to join the awesome server, and as well as make sure you guys click in the link in the description below to also watch me live play with you guys. So hop right in and let's play Minecraft, or should I say Bubblecraft. Wow, it blows my mind that we actually get to open a Minecraft server. I'm super excited, but other than that, let's just get straight into the story. Sorry for bugging you guys. But what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another crazy story. So like I said earlier, this is a continuation of basically the first time me and my teacher, let's just say, it got too close. So if you guys haven't seen that part, make sure you guys go back and watch that, and then come back to this one so it makes more sense. But anyways, I remember a month went by, and me and her, we didn't talk after a while. Me and my hot teacher. Obviously, I should remind you guys, she is not my actual teacher. She's called a substitute teacher, so obviously she wasn't meant to last. But I remember when the month went by and things moved on, I kind of just started moving on. Not that I was like in love with my teacher or anything, but I didn't think about it too much. And I remember sometimes my friends still bug me about, me and her and like, getting, somewhat close and her staring at me and me staring at her during class time. But when the original teacher came back that actually taught our class, things just kind of moved on. And I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys, class didn't feel the same. Honestly, school sucked. It sucked even more than how much it originally sucked. That's what she said. But going on, I remember out of nowhere one time I ended up getting a message on Facebook. Or to be exact, I was going through my Facebook message requests because hell, I don't really use Facebook. I'm mostly on Instagram. So if you guys want to DM me on there, go for it. But no, seriously, I remember I was going through my Facebook recents and my, message requests, and I saw that she messaged me on Facebook. She messaged me on Facebook literally the third day we met. And I never saw it. I never even saw it. Don't get me wrong, I didn't even know she messaged me on Facebook, but I was just so confused because she messaged me so long ago. Now, this is where things get confusing because honestly, at first in my mind, I was thinking, okay, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm not gonna text her back. It's already too late. It's already like a month past. There's no point of me doing it. It's gonna be weird. But then I don't know what came over me. I, for some reason, decided to message her back. And when I messaged her back, I'm not gonna lie, I felt dumb because what? It's already been a month, like since she texted that message. Like, what? Why would I message back now? But then the craziest thing happened. She instantly saw it and texted me back. I was so weirded out, and she ended up texting me back saying, I guess you're not on Facebook that much, are you? Yeah. I don't really know what to say at that moment. I was really confused. I was kind of just, weirded out that she actually texted me back, but at the same time, she was a hot teacher, so I'm not complaining. Going on, I remember she was asking me about homework and stuff and how I'm doing in the class and all that stuff that she helped me substitute, or she was a substitute teacher for. And me and her kind of went back and forth about the, students that were, in my class. And then she ended up talking about that moment where we stood still just staring at each other. Obviously, at first we chuckled about it or laughed about it. And by laughing, I mean literally she typed LOL after every damn sentence. Girls, if you do that, don't do it. It's cringe. But then she ended up asking me, hey, like, do you want to maybe like meet up sometime? What? Are you telling me my substitute teacher, my own substitute teacher, bro, wanted to meet up? Now, this is where things got iffy because I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want to meet up with my substitute teacher. That was kind of weird. And kids, if you guys are watching this and you guys are like young kids that have teachers and still in school and stuff, don't do this. Whatever you do not listen to to anything I do. I mean, listen to the story, but don't do what I do. Many people ask why I tell these stories, and it's because I want you guys to not do what I do, or don't do what I tell, or anything like that. Consider a disclaimer. I don't have to put a disclaimer in every single one of my videos just for you guys to understand that. So just take that understanding and put it in your damn brain. But going on, I remember as I was freaking out about her literally saying that she wanted to meet up, I was panicking. I put my phone on my desk just thinking, okay, what are the consequences? What are the mistakes I'm doing here? Is this a good idea? Wait a minute, she's a hot teacher. And then she sent me her phone number. She texted me her phone number even if I didn't reply yet. Now this was weird. And honestly, I ended up grabbing her phone number and literally texting it saying, hey, it's Bubba. Yeah, not the smartest thing to do. And like I said, don't do what I'm doing. She texted me, I texted her, and it got to the point where we decided to meet up at a cafe. Now reminder, she asked me to meet up at a cafe after school because obviously I guess we were both in school. She was in one school, I was in another. It was awkward. Man, I'm making it sound like we were in like a long distance relationship when in reality she was just like in another school that was like what, a 20-minute drive from mine. But going on, we met up at the cafe and I remember I parked my car and I saw her already standing outside looking at me. I came out of my car and I walked out and I basically walked up to her and I'm like, hey, like what's going on? She said, oh, like I'm doing good. It's good to see you again. And I remember me and her, we ended up going inside the cafe, sitting down and basically talking about school. We went from talking about school to basically talking about each other's lives and stuff and how she wanted to become a teacher. And then she basically talked to me about like my dreams and hopes. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I did tell her one day I want to become a famous YouTuber, which I don't know if I achieved yet, but honestly it's kind of cool that like, you know, I became a YouTuber. I mean, hopefully she doesn't see it, because if she does and sees this video, for example, I guess I'm gonna say hi, you're hot. Going on though, me and her started talking back and forth, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, for some reason the more we talked, we got along, but she got really unmature. She went from being a mature teacher that I remember in class to literally talking about how she does parties, how she, you know, she does all these like drinking, she does all these crazy things that, let's be real here, a teacher should not be telling a student. And it got to that point where she became so unmature that it didn't even feel like I was talking to my teacher anymore. It made it seem like I was talking to like some senior that just came out of high school and just started busting out balls. That's not appropriate, but you get what I mean. So me sitting there absolutely confused and kind of just amazed by my teacher. I remember we got super unlucky at this moment, and I think this was the worst thing that could happen in any moment when you're hanging out with your teacher outside of school, especially when your teacher's hot. I ended up seeing two kids that were originally in my class walk in, and these two students were literally the students that literally my substitute teacher taught in the same class as me. So this is where things get iffy, because I remember they sat down and they weren't that far from us, but I remember I started staring them down. Then my teacher, or the substitute teacher that was with me at the time, started staring them down, and basically became a stare fest. And I remember my substitute teacher looking at me saying, okay, this is really not good. I don't feel comfortable. And I said the same thing, saying, yeah, I don't feel comfortable either. And me and her ended up actually leaving the cafe, getting in my car and leaving. But as we were leaving and she got in my car, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I remember seeing one of the students pull out their iPhones and basically take a photo of us. A literal photo of a teacher coming into my car. Reminder, I had a Toyota Celica at the time. So a teacher coming into this kind of car with a young kid, or aka me, I don't know if you call 17-year-old a kid still, but you know what I mean. It's just really, really bad look on her. I remember I ended up driving her home and she asked me to invite me in, but obviously I didn't do it, because I think we all know where that goes when a woman invites you into her own home. And I don't have to say it, but I will say it just for the kicks. It usually leads to the devil's tango. But that didn't end up happening. Going on, I remember the next day at school, I remember the same two students ended up walking up to me asking me questions. They're asking me questions like, yo, like, why were you with the teacher, bro? Or like, dude, like, were you actually just hanging out with her, like our substitute teacher? And it became more awkward and awkward. Everyone remembered her still. And obviously they still do, because it was only a month past, but still, it went from being worse to worse to worse. And right when I thought it couldn't get any worse, I ended up getting called down to the office. Like, no joke. The announcements came on and they're like, can Bubba please come to the office? Thank you. Great. Right when I thought things couldn't get worse. So I remember I ended up getting my backpack, going down to the office, and when I got down there, my principal was waiting for me. My principal invited me inside saying, oh, Bubba, come on in. We sat down and he started talking about the photo. He had the photo saved on his phone, and apparently these kids snitched on me. And he started saying things like, so why were you with the teacher? And obviously I was gonna cover her and say like, oh, like, you know, she was just teaching me in class and stuff. But then after that, I remember she ended up walking into the office as well, and we both sat down staring at our principal. We knew we got caught. We did get caught, and the teacher wanted more information on things, but obviously we didn't give it to him. We just said the same story of saying, oh, like, we were just helping out like him and his homework and stuff. And I remember he was going through my grades and stuff, and he was going through things to see if that was actually true. And well, I remember my principal telling me, all right, Bubba, you can leave. I'm gonna have to talk to the teacher here. And at that moment, I remember I looked at my substitute teacher that was like really hot, and she looked at me with like a death stare and like sadness and knowing she was probably gonna get fired from her job. And I left that office. I left that office knowing I would never see her again. And yeah, that's what ended up happening. I never saw her again. She blocked me on Facebook. She blocked me on everything that we had contact on. And I wouldn't be lying if I said I wasn't a little hurt, but at the same time, hell, it was high school. Anyways, guys, that is basically it for the story. I know it's kind of crazy and it kind of sucked, but at the same time, it was kind of interesting. And like I said, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe right now if you guys haven't already. And also, just a quick reminder, I am Twitch streaming. So if you guys want to go down on Twitch and click the link right now that's in the description below. I am live right now, so you guys want to talk to me, ask any questions about the story, go right for it. And like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. All right, peace out, guys. All right, yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today's video takes place back when I was in high school, and funny enough, this was my grade 11th year when I was working at a restaurant. If you guys don't know, back when I was in grade 11, I worked in a couple restaurants because, well, they pay the best money. Like, think about it like this. When you work at a restaurant, you get paid tips, but at the same time, though, I was only a line cook, so I wasn't really making much money, but I was still making something. And I remember one of the reasons why I always worked at restaurants was because there was a lot of hot girls that work in the restaurant industry. For example, there were hot waitresses, and on top of that, there were hot hosts. And honestly, it just seemed like the best place for me because, well, if you guys don't know me well enough or you guys are new to the channel, I always like to do the devil's tango. So it just made the most sense to me. Anyways, I remember one time, it was like my second week there, and I was put on dish duty. I was basically putting dishes away and stuff, which honestly sucks, but at the same time, don't get me wrong, it wasn't that bad because cleaning dishes and sending them through a dishwasher is easier than it sounds. It's just really repetitive. But there was one part of being a dishwasher that was actually enjoyable, and that was getting all the dishes that I've already cleaned and putting them away back where they belong, at the front. If you guys don't know, basically, since I was in the kitchen, I got to occasionally go to the front and be able to put away some of the dishes that would need to be cleaning. And also, at the time when I would always put these plates away, I'd usually go up and end up flirting with the waitresses up there. And I remember one time when I was putting away dishes, I ended up seeing one of the waitresses and I ended up kind of flirting with her. I was like, hey, like, how you doing? Like, you're kind of cute. What are you doing back here? And she looked at me and said, stop, Bubba. I'm literally in the middle of my shift. And I remember this girl was like somewhat older than me, but she was really attractive. And there was no way I was not going to flirt with her because, you know, if it walks and she's hot, well, I mean, why not? Anyways, I was flirting with her and then one thing led to another. She ended up telling me, okay, Bubba, like, you need to relax. And then afterwards I said, oh, all right, well, whatever. And I ended up going back to my shift. After a while though, I remember one time she ended up coming to the back and she started talking to me and stuff as she was putting dishes away that need to be cleaned. And for some reason at first, it seemed like she didn't want to do anything with me, as if she had a boyfriend or something. But then after a while, as I didn't give her the attention she wanted, she started really wanting to talk to me more, which is one thing I learned. To all the guys out there that like a girl, if you give the girl too much attention in the beginning, they won't want to be with you. But if you give them just a little attention, then maybe over time, they will want you more. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I have no idea. But anyways, going on with the story, I remember as this girl would flirt with me and stuff, I basically just kind of went along with it, ended up adding her on Snapchat, and then one thing led to another. We ended up kind of flirting over the phone. And me and her, it's not like the first time we've worked together. We've worked together a lot, and that's because we always did late night shifts. But this is where the story gets really juicy. I remember the next day when I went to school, I went into my keyboarding class because I had something to hand in. I know it sounds really dumb that I took keyboarding class, but you guys got to understand, when you're on the computer like 80% of your life, learning to type fast is one of the main things you got to learn. Because if you don't learn how to type fast, well, it's just purely embarrassing. But I remember I ended up learning how to type fast, and I had an assignment to hand in where it basically showed that I was able to type over 100 words per minute, which I can write over 100 words per minute. I think I can write over 132 words per minute. If I'm being exact, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. But basically, I remember when I went up to my teacher and was handing this in, my teacher ended up looking at me, but he looked really sad. I have no idea why. So I remember I looked at him and told him, yo, like, listen, I know it's not like any of my business, but like, I was just wondering, are you okay? He ends up looking at me and saying, Bubba, I really don't want to talk about this right now. Thank you for your assignment. Yeah, thank you. But I remember as he was saying that to me, I was looking over his shoulder and I literally saw what was going on his phone. Apparently, his girlfriend was really not having a good time with him and basically ended up saying how basically she needed time to be with herself and kind of figure out some stuff and needs some time alone. Now, guys, I'm not dumb, okay? I'm gonna say this right now. When a girl says she needs time to figure out herself, that usually means, hey, I found a really hot guy and I really want to flirt with him a little bit and see where it goes. It never actually means they need to be alone, because what most girls need is attention, and no girl wants to actually be alone. So I remember I ended up telling him, dude, this sentence right here that your girl said, yeah, I'm gonna be for real with you, bro. She's seeing someone else. I remember my teacher looked at me in anger saying, why would you even say that, dude? Like, really? Are you really saying that to me right now? He ends up standing up and saying that I should leave the classroom, and I ended up leaving. But I'm gonna be straight up honest. When a bro needs help, a bro's gonna get help. And it's pretty obvious here that that girl was definitely playing with with him, like no doubt. Now you guys are probably wondering how the teacher is correlated to the actual story. Well, if you guys saw the title of this video, it makes sense later on. Basically, after that whole entire thing and me handing in my assignment, I remember I ended up going back home that day after school and basically started getting ready for work. And when I got ready, I ended up snapping this girl, and the girl honestly stopped kind of snapping me that I would hit up at the restaurant. I found it odd at first, but me knowing I was gonna go see her at the restaurant got me more excited to figure out what was going on. So I ended up getting my things, basically driving down there, and when I got there, I remember I saw her and she seemed really off. I have no idea why, so I remember I started talking to her saying, hey, like, yo, is everything good? And then she just told me, just nothing. Like, I don't really just feel like closing today. I don't know why. I just have this weird feeling. And after she said that, I told her, well, don't worry. If anything happens, just, you know, talk to me. I'll be here for you. And I ended up going back. At this time, I remember basically me and her, we were basically together the whole entire night because we were both doing closing shift for the restaurant. And basically, it was really weird because I remember at one random point of the night, and this was like almost towards closing, for some reason, this waitress ends up running to the back of the restaurant, running to where I was at and saying, Bubba, can I like stay back here, please? I remember I look at her and say, why, what's wrong? Is everything all right? And then she ends up saying, no, I think like my boyfriend's like watching me or like following me. I have no idea, but like he's literally here and I don't know where he is though. I ended up asking her, why would your boyfriend follow you? That sounds really weird. And also, you have a boyfriend and you're flirting with me? Is what I said. And that's when I started to kind of like understand that, like, you know, she started telling me how he was really weird and how his job keeps him really uptight and that, you know, he was just being a weird guy and just wanted to move on. Honestly, girls really usually sometimes have a good reason for things, but she is not really one of them. But I basically told her it's okay, just stay with me, because I didn't know if this was like an actual guy that would actually hurt her physically, because, you know, physical abuse is it's a whole different conversation there. And then I ended up saying, okay, just chill back here. You know, if anything happens, I'll just call the manager. I'll just take care of the rest of your tables and everything, because I did have waitressing experience to know how to take care of tables. Anyways, we ended up going through that with the night, and basically afterwards, I remember when the night was closing and it was basically time to end everything, I basically started cleaning up the kitchen. She ended up cleaning up the front, and me and her, we decided to take a break and go to the back of the restaurant. If you guys don't know, at the back of every restaurant, there's like a door that can open and you can basically take breaks there, relax, pull out a chair. And I remember the waitress that I was working with, she vapes. So, you know, as gross as it is being a vapor, she was vaping in front of me as I was eating my peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I remember as I was eating my sandwich and she was vaping a fat cloud over my face, I remember she told me how basically this whole thing between her and her boyfriend's been hard and how he's really uptight and all this stuff over and over again. It got to the point where basically it was old news. But then afterwards, I remember basically as we were just sitting there and I stood up about to tell her something, I told her the secret words that most girls want to hear. Well, like, honestly, just move on. Do what you want to do best. You know yourself better than anyone. You know, I gave her that like motivational speech that every girl enjoys to hear after, you know, they go through a hard situation. Because girls, when they're most vulnerable, it seems like you could literally tell them anything and they would love you. And then afterwards, I remember this girl, after I said that, she ended up coming up to me and literally started making out with me in the back of the restaurant with work clothes on and her mouth tasting like watermelons because of her vape. I have no idea. I found vaping disgusting, by the way. Don't vape, guys. And then basically, I remember after when that was happening, she literally started like, you know, flirting with me even more and more, and we kept making out the back of the restaurant, even though we still had to close it down. But then right as it was happening, I ended up seeing a car pull up to the back of the restaurant out of nowhere. And I start panicking. I'm like, oh, who's this? Is this like the manager or something? No, it was literally my keyboarding teacher coming out of his car and saying, wait, what? Are you serious? You're cheating on me with my student? Wait, what is what I said? And then afterwards, I realized it was him, and the girl ended up looking at me saying, what do you mean he's your student? He's literally like 21. I'm not actually 21 is what I told her right after. I'm like, actually, I'm like 17. She ends up looking at me all like freaked out. And then afterwards, I remember my teacher ends up saying, so this is what you're going to see me with? This is what you're trying to do? I don't know. He started basically freaking out and crying. And I remember basically they had a whole situation. And basically the girl ended up calling the cops saying how her boyfriend was harassing her and ended up leaving. And after the whole situation happened, I had to give a statement of what happened and like, you know, the whole situation. And then afterwards, I went inside the restaurant, started closing it down, and I started to realize one thing. This was my keyboarding teacher that just got arrested in front of me. Are you serious right now? Anyways, afterwards, I remember I realized that the waitress ended up blocking me on Snapchat, which I mean, I don't blame her because she only worked like a week after and ended up getting fired. And then after that, I remember the next day when I went to school after the whole situation, my keyboarding teacher wasn't there until 2 weeks later. And 2 weeks later, when he saw me in the hallway, he came up to me and said, hey, Bubba, I'm not going to take your advice ever again, but please just don't talk to her anymore. And ended up walking away. He wasn't my keyboarding teacher anymore because he ended up leaving the school for personal reasons. Or I just think it's because he got a criminal record, but who knows? Anyways, guys, that's basically it for today's story. Make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if if you haven't already. And like I always say, if all for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.